Get you a selfie stick, sir.
There.
Just have me up there and saying, and in conclusion.
All right, we're good.
Okay. All right, picking up where we left off. All right, classifier of the month, PS2 Gallegos. Support person of the month, Senior Carrillo. Congrats. Support person of the quarter, FC2 Niddle. Is he here? No. Civilian of the month, Mr. Saracero, the OPL. Civilian of the quarter, Miss Galliana, Miss P. Contractor of the quarter, Mr. Gentry out of the Austin Norse. Contractor of the month. Contractor of the quarter, Mr. Alan Cordova, PAO extraordinaire. All right, CO's Achievement Award. I'm shouting that out to ABE2 Laura down in Portland for his hard charging down in Portland and getting across the line already for trimester 1. CR's hard charger is Chief Dallas. Well done, Chief, covering down on Division 5. Was also, I should announce, is Division of the Month, Division 5. Well done, Division 5. Alright, small station of the month, no surprise here, NRS Portland, as I previously mentioned. Medium station of the month, NRS Odessa at a Div 1, 38% of your yearly goal that month, or excuse me, a trimester goal that month. And large station of the month, NRS Georgetown. Well done, Georgetown. Alright, we got quick officer recruiters for the quarter at 4 attains. Our Gen Off recruiter of the quarter is Chief Mueller out of the Norse. Well done, Chief Mueller. Giving out some triple plays. I gotta see if this is right. Chief Jeter triple play 3 chaplains in a quarter. Well done, Chief Jeter. 3 chaplains in a quarter. That is excellent. Lieutenant Kretzinger, New Park side, and Chief Roseberg on the Gen Off side for triple plays. Well done. And then lastly, we got the Officer Recruiter Grand Slam for Chief Mueller out of Norris, Austin. Well done, Chief. All right. So congratulations to all of our December award winners. I'm going to now turn it over to Rear Admiral Waters, Commander of Naval Recruiting Command, leading all of our efforts here in Recruiting Nation. And I'll turn it over to him now.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
Sir.
Thanks, Skipper. Nice to be here in San Antonio. It's good to have a live audience and the rest of the NTAG online. So I'm down here to see you and to participate in the Navy All-American Bowl. If anyone that's not super familiar with what that is, that's the premier high school all-star game for the nation. It'll be on NBC on Saturday, the game, starting at about noon. And Navy is the sponsor, the primary sponsor, so it's the Navy All-American Bowl. And it's going to bring in millions of viewers, tens of millions of folks on social media. And it's all coming, and many of you are participating, I think. But it's all going to come out of the hard work down here in San Antonio. So it's really a pleasure to be here, to be part of that game, and also to finally get a chance to spend just a little time with all of you here at NTAG San Antonio. You know, it's been I've been in this job since the end of March of 24, as most of you know. It's been quite a road. 24 was an amazing year of comeback, especially in the area of active component enlisted, and in particular nukes. We went from tracking to miss by somewhere around 6,500 by the end of March of 2024 to exceeding our contracting goal as a nation at 40,978. So the number of contracts achieved in 2024 nationally was higher than anything we'd seen since 2003. And the rate at which we were doing it for the 6 months from April through the beginning of April through the end of September was higher than anything we've seen on record. So if you take that, what we achieved in those 6 months, and multiplied that by 2, which would have been the rate for the year, we would have been at about 49,000 contracts, which is astounding considering in 22 we had about 24,000 contracts as a nation. In 23 we had about 30,000 contracts as a nation, and then in 24 with 40,978. This year our national goal is 40,600, but I've mentioned before, we've been asked to ship more than that. We've been asked to ship 44,000 new active component new sailors. That didn't change how many nukes we're going to ship, how many Warrior Challenge, but overall we've been asked to ship more. The contracting goal for the year was just under 44,000 anyway. It's 43,000. What is it? 848. But who's counting? No, we all are counting. And so my intent, and I've expressed this before, is not to change any NTAG's contracting goal, but just to apply the same principles we've applied through 2024, which is to run and set the conditions to allow all of you to continue to run and produce at the rate that I know you're capable of. Because I know, as a nation, we're capable of producing 49,000 contracts in a year because we just did it for 6 months, right? I'm not asking for 49,000 contracts, but I know that we can. And I really want to express, and I'll talk a little bit more about this at the National All Hands Call next week, that part of my desire, intent in my command tour is to culturally shift us from the hyper focus on sort of this monthly mission where you serve. If you're a recruiter, you come in here and serve 36 one-month tours. You're a hero 1 month, you're a zero the next month, and really create a culture where we all want to excel. We all perform in a way that generates the kind of results we saw in 24 in a world where if you're a little high 1 month and you're a little bit lower for a week because you did training, you're taking leave, whatever it is, that's the culture. And I really want to create a place where when a sailor at sea in their first sea tour is looking at their first shore tour, they want to come to recruiting. And I know for most of you, when you were looking at recruiting or being told that was your option, that was not necessarily the best feeling in the world. I'm a realist about that. But what I want is our world is such that this is actually fun again. And I think there's some of that. I think San Antonio, you've seen a couple, all of you have seen a couple of emails from me over the last 3-4 months that were not great, about your skipper, your previous skipper that I had to relieve, and then finally, I guess that's the one not great, and then finally the great email reporting the taking command for your current skipper. That's been a tough road for, I'm sure, for all of you here in San Antonio. It is not lost on me that leadership transition was not ideal. It is not lost on me that you've continued to perform through that time. And I know that for some of you, there's a true sense of loss, and there was probably a period for many of you of confusion and uncertainty. But I want to assure you that through it all, your leadership team, your CO, your CR, and now your new CMC, and soon your new XO, they have your back in keeping the ship stable, in guiding this organization through this period and bringing it to a place of great performance and great culture. Because to me, just making mission isn't the ultimate goal here. The goal is we make mission and we have a great culture. That's why it was important to me when I laid out my 3 top priorities recruiters, recruiting, and readiness, that readiness was in there. That we're focused on building a sustainable model, and that applies across the nation, but I think it's particularly poignant here in San Antonio as we work our way through the ramifications of a CO change that was not ideal. And it was important to me that all of you understood that that I had your back, your Commodore has your back, and your leadership team has your back. So as we go forward, some things that I'm interested in as we think about what's next and how to continue on with mission and with culture. I'll first talk about some of the things about mission. So we had a pretty hyper focus on the AC enlisted mission as we went through 24 because we were so far behind on everything that we really worked on the biggest thing and had great success. SecNav came and rang the bell at NRC headquarters. People extol all of your work across the Navy. CNO talks about it, SecNav talks about it. It's a big deal. But as we think about 25, the mantra is we make all missions. And so it's really thinking through how do we balance all of those missions, right? When I first started this journey, April, May of 24, we were so far behind in all mission areas that I accepted that we were going to have to put chips on the table in one or a few mission areas and sacrifice and recognize that we're probably not going to be able to get all missions in 24. We need to now that we've got processes in place where we understand ourselves better, we need to focus on balance across mission areas. And two in particular on the enlisted side that I need us all to think about. Warrior Challenge, which we've continued to make progress in, but is still behind nationally. And I think behind here at NTAG San Antonio, Skipper, I think we just talked about that a little bit. That's not poking anyone in the eye. Look, I'm the one that's behind, right? So I owe to CNP and CNO the results, and we're behind nationally. But we have the largest pool of Warrior Challenge candidates that we've had in recorded history. We have something on the order of about 1,000 nationally working toward a Warrior Challenge contract. We need to produce about 200 a month nationally to make mission. We're a little behind, so we got to produce a little bit more than 200 a month. But we're every month we're closer and closer, and I see us moving in the right direction there. I don't think, and during the question and answer period and comment period, I'm happy to take feedback on it. I don't think that there's some seismic shift required in Warrior Challenge. I think it's level of effort. I think it's continuing to better incorporate the new Warrior Challenge mentors and really just getting after it. And continuing to recognize that we need that pool of candidates. And once you have enough in the pool of candidates, you're just naturally, daily, weekly, enough are finishing, getting to the place where they can pass the PST that we're able to contract at the right rate. The second area is NAT. So newest session training, these are the reserve sailors that we're bringing them straight off the street, non-prior service. I think, and I was talking to the skipper and the CMC a little bit about this before, but I don't think we've had. I couldn't skip this. I don't think we've had. Sorry, I don't think we've had a good national strategy on that. My view is we have used excess, historically, had used excess active component candidates and talked them into part-time service. And I want to be clear with this group, and I'll be clear nationally, I don't ever want us to take somebody that's willing to serve full-time and talk them into part-time service. I don't want that to happen. So the strategy that we've used in the past is not a good strategy, right? Like, oh, we've made our mission, now everybody else we may come in contact with, we're going to talk into NAT. I think that's fair when you're talking about TAR, because TAR is full-time service, and it's really a classification issue. With NAT, I think we need to have a strategy. I owe you some tools to do that with. So in short order, we'll publish a NAT playbook, which will delineate the strategy that the National Chief Recruiter and I, as well as others, have developed to ensure that we're going after this mission, which frankly is not ginormous. It's about 1,900 nationally for the year. And I was just talking to Skipper, your mission for NAT is 121, so you're talking 10 a month, right? So just to think about it, this is about making sure that every QI that isn't going to turn into a contract for full-time service is talked to by their recruiter, their rank, the DLCPO, and at the end game, in an effort to get them to join, but also to present the options that NAT, the option of NAT and the benefits that it would provide for the individual who is like, I don't want to, leave and go off and, be gone from my home. Okay, well, we can meet you halfway, and NAT is an option. I think it needs to be the same kind of thing for refusal to obligates. So people that are going to walk away from us, before they finally walk away, we ought to talk to them about NAT. And then thirdly, there has to be an active strategy. Where are we going to prospect for NAT? Civil service, so fire and police, community colleges, trade schools. Some of these places are places where we're prospecting for active component sailors, but thinking through how do we get after that, right? So let me pause there just to say, me talking about NAT is not trying to make it more important than the active component enlisted mission, which is the show on the enlisted side. It's really just to say, hey, we've consistently been missing the mark, and I need us to put just a little bit more effort into consistently making the mark in that. If we did that, all the enlisted missions would be in a good place, I think. On the officer side, we've done pretty well this year nationally on the officer side. We've identified about 90% of the general officer mission nationally. There's still some areas that need work. Civil Engineer Corps officers, we're behind. There's still work to be done in chaplain, although we're much better than where we were a year ago or even the year before. And then finally, medical officers. It's the hardest nut to crack. So historically, we've either recruited to medical students or direct accession, so people that are already board certified, surgeons, things like that. That's a tough road to get those guys, those folks, to join. Our mission nationally has been single digits on direct accession doctors. Last year it was 7 and we made 3 nationally, and they changed the goal to 131. Right? So what do we do with that? Well, here's a couple of things that I'm doing to try to get after that. One is we recognize there are professional civilian organizations out there that recruit doctors for hospital systems. They do it every day. So we approached one of those and asked them for some thoughts and what they thought about our mission of 131 doctors. And they were like, oh, is that all? Right? Because they do bigger numbers than that in large hospital systems. So we're working with our marketing and advertising agency to connect that into that contract. Because the way I look at it is I could spend millions of dollars into the ether, hoping people get their email or look at a billboard or respond to an ad, and I might get 10 or 3 last year. Or I could spend millions of dollars to directly hire the 131 doctors that I need, right? So we're working on that. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to try it. It seems to work in the civilian world. That's not to say stop recruiting doctors wherever you are in NTAG San Antonio. Keep recruiting. And then second, I understand, and you may see from the newest podcast, I can't remember, did the one this week get released? It did? Yeah, so the Officer Recruiters of the Year, one of them was a Medical Officer Recruiter of the Year. Her idea, which I presented to the Surgeon General and we're working toward, is that, hey, we recruit at the front end, which is medical students, and we recruit at the back end, which is board certified surgeons and psychologists or psychiatrists and others. But one of the key anxieties of medical students is, I don't want to commit to you, Navy, because I don't know what my residency is going to be. I want to be an orthopedic surgeon and you're going to make me a gynecologist. And I don't want that. And so they don't sign up. So what we're creating is a thing that we're naming right now, Direct Accession Residency Assistance Program, DA-RAP, which would take somebody that's been now accepted into a residency program that paid for their own medical school, or at least borrowed money for it, pay for their medical school through residency, through financial assistance program, FAP, and then treat them as a direct accession so they get the direct accession bonus to pay off their medical school. We're working toward that. It's not a done deal yet, but I just wanted you to know that wherever I find that we're struggling against headwinds, that we're looking for creative solutions to get after that. So that medical officer one is a tough nut. But we're in a much better place overall for officers than we've been in a long time. So let me pause there. I've laid out a bunch of things national. I've touched on some San Antonio things, and provide an opportunity for folks to ask questions. I don't know who's got the.
We got some questions.
Who's
here,
got
sir.
the chat?
Via text from the field.
And where's the mic? Is it
Yeah.
just this?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So
You're
let's
allowed-
let's make sure that when you're asking the question, they can hear you.
Absolutely, sir. From Division 6, they had a question from yesterday. Is it feasible to have a question and answer phone call with N3M regarding just communication with them, or do you need more amplification?
N3M, is that N33? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, N33, sir. Medical waivers.
Yeah, I think that's in the art of the possible. This is having some questions about what it is that, or how the process works, or what we need. If you can articulate a little bit more, but the basic answer to the question is, yes, we can do that. Now remember, just like you are always on to produce, and anytime you do something other than produce, you have to come back and produce later. N33 is always on a treadmill. And so when I pull them off that treadmill to do things like Q&A, they got to get back on the treadmill and get those waivers done. Our median time to answer a waiver today is 1 day. Our expedited waivers we're staying within same day. Ad infos take about a month. But I'm happy to put N33 on a call with interested DLCPOs and others that want to know more about how to make that process work better.
The second question, sir, are 11S Cat 4 is going to open at all this year?
Probably not.
All right.
So let me touch on Cat 4s for a second. You've probably sensed me rolling back Cat 4s. The legislative limit, so the law, is no more than 4% Cat 4s. And if you want more than that, you can ask for up to 20 that the Secretary of Defense has to approve. He approved us for that last year in October. So we sped across the finish line because we were at about 18%, I think, Cat 4s. My intent is to not ask and to keep it under 4. Now, before anyone freaks out about that, the 4% is after they've gone to future sailor prep course at RTC and been for those that retake the ASVAB after that and get into Cat 3 Bravo or above, they don't count as Cat 4s assessed, as long as they shipped and reclassified in the same fiscal year. And we're at about 72% success for Cat 4 alphas. So I will reel back my initial Kurt snide answer, maybe answer of probably not, to I'll certainly take a look at it. Because the way I see the world, ultimately, is we will continue to recruit Cat 4s, 4 alphas, continue to have a future sailor prep course, and 72% of those will pass, and that, remainder, the 28%, will remain Cat 4 again on our books, plus a few that we shipped in will, in September or for whatever reason didn't get reclassified in the same fiscal year that we shipped them. But this year we're dealing with carryover Charlies and Bravos that we were taking in 24 that still haven't shipped yet. I still have a handful of Charlies that haven't shipped yet. And their likelihood of passing into Cat 3 Bravo, what we've seen so far, if they go through Future Sailor Prep course, was like 10%. So not real good. But that's where we are on Cat 4. So I'll certainly take on board a look at, and where's NCR? We do need to have a conversation about 11S Cat 4s.
Yes, sir.
Next question, sir. Is CNRC aware that the COVID page 13 has been re-added to the checklist for nurse? If so, is this required, or is it possibly an oversight, and could we get it removed?
Yeah. So being CNRC myself, I'm not tracking that personally. NCR, any?
I'm not tracking it, and I don't believe we're doing it for the enlisted applicants anymore.
So it was added for nurse?
Yeah.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that is that a national requirement? I mean,
It's
you're probably better to answer it than
It's
me.
probably on the APSR checklist, sir, because there was a checklist that they have to submit to the processors, so I can take it as a look.
Yeah, so we'll take this one on board. My oncoming aide was the OPO for the ROPO for Region East. So he'll take a look at that and then we'll get an answer back. It's probably administrivia right now rather than a real requirement.
Does anyone in the room have any questions? Because
Nothing's rolling in?
nothing's
Yeah,
going on.
please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Designer. I have a two-part question, actually.
Sure.
So my first question is for the health and safety of the sailors within NTAG San Antonio and the region, would it be possible Monday after the Super Bowl, a delayed start or like a little bit of time off, because we know how sailors get? So just thinking about everybody, thinking about the game, is it something that's feasible?
Yeah, it's probably feasible. Let me take that one on board.
Okay.
Right. I try to provide all of the NTAG COs the freedom to make those kinds of decisions, but it's certainly something to think about on a national level, considering the game goes into the evening.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. When is the Super? It's early February, isn't it?
February 9th, sir.
February 9th? Yeah. I know the college national championship is coming up soon too. What is it, the 20th?
It's next Monday, sir.
Yeah, so the 20th.
20th.
20th, yeah. So we got all kinds of things on the 20th.
Yes, sir, and I will say, probably for the national championship game, we should have a late start, because the Buckeyes will be playing in that. Browns aren't gonna be in the Super Bowl this year, so I think.
So the Browns not being in the Super Bowl, yeah, they're definitely not in the Super Bowl. Yeah, okay, that's a good question.
And then, my second question is actually like globally.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Zooming out.
Yes. So thinking of the social media space, the media itself, as far as like streaming services, I noticed that a lot of Navy commercials are not being played during that time. As far as Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, everything like that. Would it be possible for the Navy to get into that
Yeah,
space?
we are in there.
Prior to anyone else?
So we're in there, and but there's, because of the way pricing works, there's, you pay for certain demographics. So you're probably not quite in the demographic that by age. No implication. You're probably not in the 18 to 24-year-old demographic that we, so just so, as a counter to that, we've started the Nuke Smart campaign, and soon after we started it, my daughter, who is 28, she sent me a screenshot saying, I just saw this on her Netflix, which was the ad for Nuke Smart. So it's out there. Could we do more? Probably. Some of it's about how much does it cost. But we're trying to be very intentional. We were on the Netflix Christmas Day football games, so there was an ad prior to the games and then an ad in between the games. So great point. We're trying really hard to get there as much as we can.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
We have time for two more, sir. I've got one, or a couple from the field, one via YouTube, one via text. The one from YouTube, would it be possible to start considering applicants with more than 2 minor dependents? We have a lot of older and prior service applicants who have more than 2 children, and we just say sorry to them if they're
Yeah,
unable
so
to
this
join.
is, we have a request in work to try to get to 3. And that's a good one. We need to follow up on that because SecNav's last day is next Friday.
Yes, sir.
And so that's a SecNav level authority. I have requested to be delegated that authority. We just need to follow up to see if we've gotten there yet. There will still be a SecNav, so it's not that we won't be able to get it done. But this SecNav, Secretary Del Toro, actually got asked this question by a sailor when he was at headquarters for the bell ringing. And his response was, well, yes, of course, do it. Which we could, but my goal was to not piss off everybody between me and him. And so we were working on getting that rounded out. But it's a great question. I hate, and I know the Army takes 3, and so, the Marine Corps sends us hand tattoos, and we send the Army 3 dependents. But we need to be stealing other people's eggs and not giving them away. What was the second question?
The second question, sir, will there be any more maps this year, Meritorious Advancement?
Yeah, the next map season, we're gonna go into the same sort of 2 map seasons. I don't remember exactly when the timing is, but there will be maps. The numbers are not set, but we are already beginning the process of engaging with N13 at OpNav on the quotas, the numbers that we're gonna be given in order to do map. Do you remember off the top of your head what the
The number was, I don't remember the seasons. I will say that, just dealing with it over the last couple of years, we've been successful at maintaining the number of maps. I think it's probably less likely that we get additional maps than what we've received.
Yeah, I
over the
think last year we had 64 broken into 2
Yes, sir.
across, and it's 32. And when you look at the number of actually eligible sailors, that's still significantly above what the rest of the fleet would get.
Yes, sir.
I recognize that advancement is one of the incentives of coming to recruiting historically, and I'm all in to try to keep that. The other thing that I will say is ABEs and DCmen had the prohibition against being mapped because of DMAP, but we've worked with the powers that be, that if you have one of those sailors that meet the criteria, they're one of the people you want to map, skipper, then we can do a by name waiver request, get that approved, and we've done that now twice nationally.
We've got 2 DCs that we've mapped so far.
Yeah. One was mapped by the CNO
Right.
because she was the recruiter of the year, but the national recruiter of the year. But we have done it as well for another high-performing recruiter, so it can be done. Additional
Yeah.
questions?
One more question, sir. And then if we have any additional, I've got a couple more, we'll take them back so that we can get
Yeah.
answers. Are there going to be more open CANREC slots in the future and more flexibility of where applicants can apply from? I know one was previously denied because I lived more than 50 miles out and I was at 5 miles by 50.
Well, I don't know the specific answer to are there more CAN-REC. We certainly need the help, but I know that there's a budget issue. But this 55 versus 50 sounds like something that, send the name in, we should be able to work toward being smart about a waiver for that kind of thing. So look, if for your specific case, let us know who you are and I'll work on it.
Yes, sir. We'll take any additional questions. Just please come find me afterwards and we'll write them down for the boss. Sir, I recommend moving in.
Yeah,
to the
sure.
Bell
All right,
Park.
yes, sir. I know you wanted to recognize some folks today. So we got 3 here that we.
Yeah.
3 here. So first front and center is OS2 out of Cruz. All right.
Us too.
So, all right, recruiter ranked out of Portland last year where they made gold for the year, and we moved him over to a larger station as rank, and now he's been crushing it in South Corpus Christi. Named Junior Sailor of the Year last year as well. South Corpus Christi, they've already surpassed 25% of their annual goal for the quarter, so they're on track and they're doing well.
Yeah, amazing. I just want to honor you with a Bravo Zulu belt buckle.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, congratulations. It's a great, you're a great example of when you're successful in the Navy, we give you more to do. And, but you continue to succeed, so that's fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, next, MM2, Mejia. Recruiter out of Southeast San Antonio here in the metro area. He was our recruiter of the year, fiscal year 24.
All right.
He got recently rank qualified as well, back in October, September timeframe. He wrote 42 contracts, 5 nukes, 1 nat, and 1 warrior challenge.
Awesome. You're doing it across the board. All right, congratulations.
And then lastly, we've got OS2 Bowen coming out of NRS Brownsville down in the valley. Going back to his hometown to recruit, he's killing it down there.
All right, you know all the people.
46 contracts last year. He was our runner-up for Recruiter of the Year, and he's almost, what do you say, a couple months away from a Centurion OS2?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so almost gonna get to 100 here in probably the next couple of months.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. All right, well, hey, thanks NTAG San Antonio for the hospitality. Certainly, if you still have questions or things you didn't want to bring up in this format, get them into the question path that was provided, texting / whatever else.
There's YouTube chat, sir.
YouTube chat, and we'll work on those. But I really appreciate what you're doing here. You've come through a lot over the last year, and you're really doing a great job. On glide slope, all nav, right? So on or above, really getting it done. San Antonio is one of the pilot NTAGs for the annual goaling, and you've really embraced that, and I appreciate that. I want to shout out to the CR for his leadership in getting us on that glide slope. So thanks, CR. So have a great rest of your day. Continue to do great things. Your nation needs you. Thank you.
Attention on deck.
All right. Carry on, everyone.